Shows they have some sort of shaped leg.
They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
They're not looking. Couldn't you cough?
But I haven't got a cough.
They're looking. What effrontery!
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly. It is the only thing left to do now.
When strangers do love, you know the rules, and so do I. Of full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy.
This dignified silence
I just
seems
wanna
to
tell you how I'm
unpleasant
feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you.
But we will
Never
not
gonna make
profess
you
to speak.
cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna
Mr.
let-
Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to ask you.
Your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrieff, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
So that I may have the opportunity of meeting you, of course.
That certainly seems to be a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
If you can believe him, dear.
I don't. But that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True. In matters of vital importance, style, not sincerity, is what's important. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you give to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it that you had an opportunity to come to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the greatest doubts upon the subject, but I intend to crush them. This is not the time for German skepticism. Well, the essence certainly seemed to be satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. Seems to have the stamp of truth upon it.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrieff said. His voice alone seems to inspire absolute credulity.
Should we forgive them?
Yes.
I mean, no! True. There are principles at stake that cannot be forgotten. Which one of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one.
Could we not both speak at the same time?
What a wonderful idea! I almost always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time for me?
Certainly.
Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names is at all, but we are going to be Christian this afternoon.
For me? Are you ready to do this terrible thing?
I am.
Please me? You're willing to face this fearful ordeal?
I am.
How absurd talk of the equality of the sexes. When matters of self-sacrifice are at hand, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage of which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling.
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 Lady Bracknell.
Good heavens! Gwendolen, what does this mean? That I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma? Come here. Sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, physical weakness in the old. Mr. Worthing, apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed it once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture of the University Extension Scheme of the influence of permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question. I would consider it wrong. But you will clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter will cease from this moment. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to Gwendolen, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now, as regards Algernon. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
Is it in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Oh, Bunbury? No, Bunbury is at somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Oh, he quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of revolutionary outrage? I had no idea that Mr. Bunbury was involved in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean to say that he was found out. The doctors found that he could not live, so Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. However, I am glad that Mr. Bunbury took some definite course of action at the last, and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is this young person whose hand my nephew Algernon seems to be holding in a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I am engaged to be married to Cecily.
Pardon me.
Mr. Moncrieff and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is anything peculiarly exciting about this particular area of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seem to me to be well above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. And now, I think that some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all associated with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday afternoon, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Gervais Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporting, Fifeshire NB.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. Three addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity?
I have carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell.
I have known strange errors in that publication.
Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby.
Markby and Markby? A firm of the very highest position in their profession. Indeed, I have been told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I've also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, a baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the English and German variety.
A life filled with incidents, I see, though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl. I myself am not in favor of premature experiences. Oh, Gwendolen, the time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. Oh, as a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000. In the funds, that is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell, so pleased to have seen you.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000. And in the funds. Miss Cardew seems to be a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Few girls of the present day have any really solid qualities, any of the qualities that last and improve with time. We live, I regret to say, in an age of surfaces. Come over here, dear. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost as natural nature might have left it, but that can soon be altered. A thoroughly experienced French maid can produce a really marvelous result in a very brief period of time. Why, I remember recommending one to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months, her own husband did not know her.
And after 6 months, nobody knew her.
I need her now, sweet child. The side view is what I want. Quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The 2 weak points in our age are its want of principle and its want of profile. The chin a little higher, dear. Style largely depends upon the way the chin is worn, and they are worn very high just at present. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care tuppence for social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only those who cannot get into it do that. But of course you know that Algernon has only his debts to depend upon. But I do not approve of mercenary marriages. I had no fortune of any kind when I married Lord Bracknell, but I never dreamed of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
Oh, and you may address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I'm not in favor of long engagements. They give each other the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
On what grounds? Algernon is an extremely, I may almost say, ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing but looks everything. What more could one desire?
It pains me very much to have to speak to you frankly, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the truth is that I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He is an Oxonian.
I am afraid there can be no possible doubt in the matter. Yesterday afternoon, during my temporary absence to London on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I have just been informed by my butler, an entire pint bottle of my Pierre Jus Brut 89, a wine I was specially reserving for myself. Continuing his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in the course of the afternoon in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. What makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he was perfectly well aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I have not the smallest intention of ever having a brother, not even of any kind. I distinctly told him myself yesterday afternoon.
After careful consideration, I have decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct toward me.
How very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come over here, dear. How old are you, dear?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to evening parties.
That is perfectly right of you to make some slight alteration. A woman should never be entirely accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, but admitting to 20 at dinner longer before you are of age and free from the restraints of tutelage, so it seems to me that your guardian's consent is not a matter of any importance.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you again, Lady Bracknell, but I feel it only fair to tell you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age till she is 35.
That does not seem to me to be a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. London society is full of women of the highest birth who have, of their own free choice, remained 35 for years. Lady Dumpton is an instance in point. To my own knowledge, she has been 35 ever since she arrived at the age of 40, and that was many years ago now. So, it seems to me that our dear Cecily should feel still more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present. There will be a large accumulation of property.
Algie, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could. You know I could.
Yes, I felt it instinctively, but I couldn't stand waiting all that time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, I know, but I do like punctuality in others. And waiting, even to be married, is quite out of the question.
Then what do we do, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrieff.
Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait till she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say shows a somewhat impatient nature. I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But, my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage with Gwendolen, I will gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my lord.
You most know, Mr. Worthing, that what you propose is entirely out of the question.
Well, then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. As for Algernon, he can choose for himself. Come, dear. We've missed 5, if not 6 trains already. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christenings, sir, is that not somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? But the idea is both grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that that was the way in which you wasted your time and money.
Am I to understand, then, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I don't think that as things are now, it will be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
I am grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savour of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I've completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. However, as your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. I'm on my way to join her.
Pray, allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I am a celibate, madame.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been, for the last 3 years, Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I've been waiting for you in the vestry for an hour and 3/4, dear Canon. They told me you were waiting there.
Prism! Come here, Prism. Prism! Where is that baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104 Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a perambulator which contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. Through the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained a manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality, but the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day that you mentioned, a day that is forever branded in my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written in my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction for which I never can forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing!
Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria! The Brighton line!
I must retire to my room for a moment. Gwendolen, wait here for me.
If you don't take too long, I'll wait all my life.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare hardly suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered the thing.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
This noise is extremely unpleasant. It sounds as if he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are often vulgar, often convincing.
It has stopped now.
I wish that he would arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it lasts.
Is this the handbag, Miss Prism? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It appears to be mine. Yes! Here is the injury I received from the upsetting of a Gower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. And here is the stain on the lining from the explosion of a temperance beverage. An incident that occurred in Leamington. And here, on the lock, are my initials. I had forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had had them placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I'm delighted to have it so unexpectedly returned to me. It's been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Prism, more is restored to you than that handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes. Mother!
I am unmarried!
Unmarried? I do not deny a serious blow, but who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you!
There is some error. There is the woman who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am?
I am afraid that the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrieff, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I always knew I had a brother. Cecily, how could you ever doubt I had a brother? Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother. Gwendolen, my unfortunate brother. Algy, you young scoundrel, you will have to treat me with more respect in the future. You've never behaved to me as a brother in all your life.
Well, not till today, old boy. I admit I did try my best. However, I've been out of practice.
My own one? What own are you? Now that you're someone else? Your Christian name?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose?
I never change, except for my affections. What a noble nature you have, Gwendolen.
Then the question had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism had placed me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished upon you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened, that is settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, naturally you were christened after your father.
Yes, but what was his Christian name?
I cannot, at the present moment, recall what the general's name was. I have no doubt he had one. He was eccentric, I'll admit, but that was only in later years, and was a result of the Indian climate, and marriage, and indigestion, and other things of that kind.
Algy, can't you recollect what my father's Christian name was?
I'm sorry to say, old boy, but we weren't even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta.
The general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life, but his name would appear in any military directory.
The army list of the last 40 years, I fear. These delightful records should have been my constant study. And generals. Mallow, Matchbone, Magley. Dozen names they have. Markby, Migsby, Mobbs, Moncrieff. Lieutenant 1840, Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General 1869. Christian names. Ernest John. I always told you, Gwendolen, my name was Ernest, didn't I? Well, I mean, it is Ernest after all. I mean, it naturally is Ernest.
Yes, I remember now that the general's name was Ernest. I knew I had some reason for disliking that name.
My own Ernest.
My dear Gwendolen, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth. Can't you forgive me?
I can, for who you're sure to change.
My own one.
Letitia!
Frederick!
Cecily, at last.
Gwendolen, at last!
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I have now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.